The Boys is now approaching the final 3 episodes of Season 4, and it's safe to say that there is still a lot of developments that need to be made as we approach the finale. However, I feel this season of the show, and especially the finale, is probably going to feel like it's the end of a part 1, which will lead into the final season quite smoothly. With Butcher having Samir in the closing moments of the episode, Starlight questioning who she was, Homelander assembling his army, and Frenchie handing himself into the police, I thought I'd give my theories and predictions about what I think will happen next. So let's get into it. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Butcher. Butcher is proving to be one of the more interesting characters in this season, and his demise being on the horizon is something that's changing him dramatically. However, Joe, somebody who I think is definitely a part of his imagination, is trying to channel the dark side that Butcher once had within him. Butcher did something kind in the most recent episode and freed the rabbit that was in the cage. But then in the same episode, he chopped off somebody's leg and had an evil smile on his face, so we're really seeing 2 different sides to him. When he had Samir and he was talking to Joe, Samir looked confused as to who Butcher was speaking with, almost as if there was nobody there. I think we're going to see the penny drop and we'll see that Joe is probably a hallucination that's part of his subconsciousness that is almost like the old version of himself. The person that didn't let emotions get in the way and was prepared to be ruthless. As we did hear Joe say to Butcher that he wasn't who he once was, so maybe Joe is that dark side of him. Butcher wants to take out Homelander and save Ryan from being influenced by him, and the best way for him to do so was to keep a hold of Samir and get him to create the virus so that he could weaponize it. I think this is going to put Butcher in a completely different league to how we've seen him before. He's going down the route of biological warfare, and that's something that's going to be hard for him to control. Obviously, he wants to use it to mainly kill Homelander and Newman, but what's to say that it's not going to spread and end up killing more than just them if the creation of it is successful? The smile that he had on his face showed that he was prepared for any consequences, and he didn't care as long as he got his endgame. He's becoming unhinged, and he's literally becoming Homelander's counterpart, wanting to wipe out an entire species, Butcher with the soups and Homelander with the humans. But what could also happen is that he could end up being killed by it, as it seems as though he's now a soup too. Like the rabbit, Butcher had Temp V and normal Compound V in his system, and we saw that it didn't bode well for the rabbit at all, seeing as though there were these tentacles exploding out of it. We've seen something similar crawling around Butcher's system throughout the first 5 episodes, so it feels like he's seen what it's like to have the death that he's going to have staring him right in the face. So there's a stark similarity there. What if the rabbit is symbolic of the journey that Butcher's going to go on? He could potentially find happiness, peace, and freedom, but then ultimately be killed due to what's going on within him. I also think that the Boys is going to have a lot of division within them in the next episode. Most likely because Butcher will reveal what's going on with the virus, but also the fact that Newman revealed that he was going to betray them. So the lack of trust is going to be apparent again. Starlight. Starlight is undergoing an identity crisis at the moment, and she doesn't know how to be Annie, Starlight, or a combination of the both of them. Her past that's coming back to haunt her is Firecracker and the way that she treated her when she was younger, plus all of the decisions that she made in her private life, which are now being broadcast to everybody in the world. With Starlight looking at old photos of herself the last time that we saw her, photos of when she was Starlight, I think we're going to be seeing her channeling the soup persona again. She's tried living her life as just Annie and detaching herself from being a soup, but she can't, because that's simply who she is. She's not able to use her powers in the way that she wants to at the moment, but I think with her accepting who she truly is and knowing that she needs to be Starlight in order to move forward, her powers will ultimately come back to her. This in turn will also allow her to fight back against Firecracker in a way that will most likely end her for good. Sister Say showed that Firecracker was just a pawn in her game and that she's disposable, and disposable is what she'll probably become as the episodes draw towards the finale. I initially thought that Starlight would end up channeling a darker side, but my mind's been changed on that. I don't think that would now work with the direction that the character's taken. I feel she's now all about self-acceptance, trying to get the people on side and understanding who she truly is as a person. So by having some type of venom arc, it just wouldn't work. A-Train. A-Train has had a very interesting journey throughout the entirety of the show, from being somebody that was arrogant and fully embodying the ego that Vought was feeding him, to him having his struggles, his issues with his heart, and now being stuck in a place where from a moral standpoint he doesn't know what to do. We know that A-Train has been working with the boys on 2 occasions. The first was getting the footage that proved the Starlight's innocence, which Sister Sage most definitely knows about, even though she's not revealed it to him or Homelander yet, and also in getting Compound V from Homelander's apartment and giving it to Huey so that he could save his father. I don't think A-Train is going to survive this season. A-Train has essentially had his main piece of redemption, which was shaking hands with Huey and there being a sense of forgiveness from Huey towards him. A-Train running towards Robin and killing her was the very first thing that we saw in the show, so now that there's some kind of acceptance and forgiveness, his arc has gone full circle and is essentially complete. I think A-Train helping the boys is going to be the catalyst of his demise. A-Train has a sense of guilt within him now. For example, he didn't like the fact that the Homelander 3 were killed for no reason whatsoever, and he also didn't like the fact that the Starlighters were put in jail when they were innocent. So with Cameron Coleman being killed after being accused of doing the act that A-Train actually did, I feel he's going to have a sense of guilt within him as an innocent person died for something that he actually did. I don't know why Sister Sage hasn't revealed the truth yet, but maybe she has plans for A-Train and wants to manipulate him into doing something that will benefit Homelander's cause. I think Homelander will find out the truth and A-Train will meet his end before he gets the opportunity to leave the Seven. Could Ashley end up revealing the truth as a way of trying to get back in with Homelander and the Seven, something which will probably prove to be redundant as Homelander doesn't like humans. But regardless, A-Train wants to be a real hero and impress his nephews, and I think he'll probably die as one. Homelander. In the most recent episode, Homelander was a character that really did surprise me. Following what happened in episode 4, where he killed the humanity within him, we saw that his need and desire for love was relinquished, apart from the feeling of it from his son, Ryan. I think this is something that's going to continue on in the next episode of the show. This desire to be loved by his son is something that's becoming more natural, and by taking a step back, the pressure that he was putting on his son is now dropping off, and Homelander is getting the result that he wanted. A mini version of him that he'll likely use against Butcher when the time comes. I think with Homelander now assembling his army within the Seven and saying that what they were going to be embarking on was going to be war, I think we're going to see an even darker side to Homelander moving forward, something that I didn't think would even be possible. Homelander is now numb, something he's never been before. He wants soup supremacy and it very much feels like that's his endgame, but before that the loyalty of the Seven is most likely going to be tested, and I think he's going to be tasking them with going off and proving their worth and that they believe in his cause. The issues that he felt as though he got rid of by slaughtering everybody in B6 haven't gone away, as we saw with the flashbacks when he was at the V52 Expo. So I think it's only a matter of time before all of those issues erupt and get channeled into something completely different. Something which is most likely going to be the killing of innocent people. Homelander is quite literally a ticking time bomb. As well as that, I also think we'll see the boys dealing with Frenchie going to jail and also Newman looking for comfort in Stan Edgar. The only person that she can get that comfort from, but I still feel Stan Edgar's most likely going to betray her. As you can see, there are so many different directions that the next few episodes of the show, but especially the next one, is going to go in. These are the predictions that I've got, but what are yours? Comment them below.